Hey friends, we are back for section 2 of DIY Winter Edition, and the DIY Weekend is a fun event where you're going to be able to watch me design the kits that we have placed online in our new winter collection. So if you like to dabble in floral design and want to give any of these kits a try, the reason we're doing these lives today is to instruct you on how to put them together. So stay tuned and you're going to see 8 or 9 amazing kits in this 2-hour segment. We are going to go through a look that I didn't get to in the last section. We have one last look in our frosty light colorway. We're also then going to dive into some deeper tones of wintry greens with blue accents and lots of pine cones. You're going to love the look. We have tray designs coming up, porch pots, vase drop-ins, little wreaths, big wreaths, and Kate is here to drop all the links for you behind the camera.
I am. I got links ready to go. Sorry if I sound a little toady.
She will do her best today. Kayla has been summoned back to the store, and we are hanging out in our Magnolias warehouse where we're ready to ship these beautiful designs out to you, these kits that you'll be designing, I should say, and they'll be rolling out the door on Monday morning.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, thanks for joining us today. We had a great 2-hour segment this morning. This is the DIY Weekend, December 7th and 8th, where you're going to find the sale upgraded on our pine. Any pine wreaths, pine sprays, pine swags, pine garlands. All of the background bases are now 25% off. You can pick up everything behind me, which we will talk about in detail as we go along, at 25% off.
Yeah, so we have 25% off Christmas, 25% off winter, and just this weekend, 15% off containers. We do that for DIY Weekend. So it's vases and planters, 15% off this weekend only.
I did a little lineup beside me and behind me so that I wouldn't forget to tell you about the containers at 15% off. We rarely, if ever, put our home decor vases on sale. They just don't stick around that long. So for you watching today, a special opportunity to buy some gifts for those who are decorators on your gift list. Some things that are a little bit off camera that you can't see. Look at these gorgeous hammered gold-toned metal containers. These flora vases are huge, and we will ship them to you. The collection itself, I don't have the title of. Kate will find them.
I'll drop a link to our containers here.
These are beautiful vases made in India. I believe this is a 36-inch vase. Pretty broad diameter at the base, a manageable top to it, but if you need some gorgeous modern accents, these would do it.
It's the gold metal hammered floor vase.
And side by side, let's see if I can hold them up here. This is the size difference. Of course, they make a great staggered set to fill a corner or an entryway wall that needs a little something. It wouldn't take much to design in them, and many of these gorgeous pine sprays could be wired to drop in for the winter season and look amazing. Other fun vases behind me on the mantle. Gorgeous shapes. These are cast aluminum shapes in a dark, modern, bronze black color. So it's a combo of black-brown, and they have a very narrow opening. They don't require much, if anything. They're so sculptural. But these two pieces staggered together make a great combo pair, and a companion piece that's just a little bit more black with a opening in the middle. These type of vases, just December 7th and 8th, will be 15% off. So it's a great opportunity to grab some gifts. This design, well, Kate will find these for you.
I'm dropping a link to all vases and planters so you can shop them there easily. If you are watching in replay, maybe on YouTube, just go to our website, shopmagnoliasonline.com. I have never seen that vase in my life. What is that?
Isn't it beautiful?
Oh my gosh.
There might be more than one size. It has a really unique shape to the top of it. And pieces like this is actually the same colorway, but this is made out of ceramic with a combo finish. You can see that really clearly there. It is not silver, this is just reflective. But the combination of color is gorgeous, and it is either a really dramatic vase on a side table or a floor vase. It is large enough to be a floor vase, and it does coordinate with the dark colors behind us.
I love that mixed finish. That's gorgeous.
So beautiful containers, 15% off. Let's get towards the design aspect here. Kate's going to help me run down what we're going to create for you today. Now this morning, my backdrop incorporated this beautiful long needle vine trailer.
It's called the pine drop.
The pine drop itself
Yes.
has 3
So should we
strands.
do the kit? Are you ready to list the kit?
Can I point out one thing quickly?
Yes.
The strands that you see falling from that drop are what was displayed behind me. I didn't want to take it off the mantle earlier, but the morning segment, I ran the lights through a combination of 2 things, the 5-foot frosted cedar swag and 2 pieces of this particular vine, end to end, trailing out of this design. So this combination is 3 components, 2 of these vines, 1 5-foot cedar swag, and then of course earlier we lit them with our borealis orbs. So that is a gorgeous look that will definitely be eye-catching at your house. Okay, we can go through the components.
All right, so this is the Vining Swag Kit, and this kit is going to start off on your pine drop there. Very unique piece, frosted long needle pine drop. It includes brown bottle brush pine sprays ×2. It includes icy barren nest and leaves, a little Luna hanging stem, a white sequin Artemisia garland, a frosted pine cedar spray, and some floral wire.
The floral
Optional,
wire.
optional add-ons include the winter moon bow, some clip-on birds, and a glass mushroom ornament. So the add-ons are linked in the description of the product, but are not included in the kit. So up to you if you'd like to add those on for a fuller design. This kit is on sale for $61 today.
You're getting 5 wire stems. You'll probably need a couple of them in your kit today. Having a little extra wire never hurts. I always include it because it's my favorite weight, a 20 gauge wire. And then we can, if you choose to, with your own floral tape, wrap your wire to give it a nice tackiness and a more professional finish. I pinch and start my tape. I keep it at an extreme angle and I roll my wire into my tape. It's a technique that you have to sort of get onto, but if you work towards rolling your wire into your tape and not vice versa, it will go a lot better for you. So that's how we tape our wires, and if you choose to do so, it's a little bit of a practice thing. I'm also going to be sipping my tea from time to time here. This is something that by the time I get to the middle of the day, I do need some tea for my throat. We do carry organic tea made by a women-owned company, and you'll find that in our online store.
Big Heart Tea.
Big Heart Teas. We've got an amazing mint. If
I need to go make some myself.
Yes, there you go. If you don't want caffeine,
I'm so scratchy. I should just be eating spoonfuls of honey over and over again.
You should just be swallowing honey. So the first 2 pieces we need to work together are this long trailing vine and the Artemisia garland, and they are similar in length. You can see here they're coming out pretty similar. You do want to fan open the Artemisia left and right and kind of lay that product out so it's coming straight and tightly laid together. You do want to fan it out and get that opened up a little bit. It's going to have a much better result when you start shaping it, if you can rearrange it so it's less compact. This little piece has alternating lengths, and there is 1 long strand. So what I want to do, and not to confuse people, I'll be a little more careful about this design. We've done them in the past and it can be tricky, but grab the longest piece in your strand, give it a loop, and make a circle out of it. The reason we're going to do that is because I am wanting to create a teardrop that has a wider top to it. Now, not to make it complicated in any way, let me try to fan this open. We are shortening the longest one by making a loop. There's still plenty of length here, and we're also creating a top that has a little bit more width in the end. We'll be filling this loop in with our extra pine, but that loop is a 6-inch diameter loop. Let me double check my work. 6-inch diameter loop.
And I should note, we don't provide as many measurements on these items because it depends on how you put it together for the sizing to come out. So if you shorten it up by looping a few more things, it's going to be shorter than Amy shows.
Exactly.
So each one will come out differently.
And because both of these components have tops that are looped, rather than cut them off, I'm just going to bend the white one over because I'm wiring this down into this wreath shape that I've created at the top. Do you see how we kind of have a loop out of the green's vine? The white vine is not made into a circle. Instead of ending the top awkwardly up into my piece, I just bent it over so that I can stack it down here. We're getting a stack of stems and we're going to wire right in this area and create our hanger on the back side. So that's how we're starting it out. This is where we're hanging on to. We're going to build our design in our hand, and then in the end we're going to use 2 wires to secure it and fabricate a hanger, just so you have a nice tidy hanger. Next up is the little Luna vine. This is a plastic piece. It doesn't have a lot of wire in the base, like the lower portion's just a vinyl. This stem has a base that you can see here, so this is what we're also going to stack and hold. We're holding all these items in our hand here, right in your fist, and we're popping up a couple of them. We just need them to float up a little bit higher so that not everything drops. 3 strands will drop, and 2 strands, the short ones, will pop up to the top of the design, here and here. So we're still hanging on to this in the middle. Then we're going to layer in our 2 brown pieces. These are really quite heavy with the natural painted pine cones and the plastic brown tips, but we just need 1 to go each direction, and I think, so we don't have to worry about it later, we're just going to pre-cut off about 3 inches of each stem with the side cutters. This stem isn't too thick and hard to cut at all. This is an easy one to cut. Just going to lose some length, and then it's going to drape also left and right in our hands. So we're layering with the point of wiring at the end. Now this is how I do it because I'm used to doing it like this. If this is somehow tricky or frustrating, you can wire as you go with each layer. Don't be afraid to give it a try this way, but if you want to wire with each layer, maybe that will help you out. So we still have some funny little stems that stick up awkwardly. Don't worry, we're filling it in. We're filling it in. This is the piece that's going to do the job. It's nice and full. And we just need to lay back one of the chunky pine stems backwards here. And this piece is going to start out looking like that. We just need to lay the stem into our stack and top it off with this big chunky guy that's going to hide all of the problems in the design. It's all going to be hid here. So with this combination secured, we're going to wire it together. And our wires should be able to go, instead of smack dab in the middle, we're going to put one on each end of our stack with the point of adding a little length of wire to create the hanger in the back. So I'm going to wire here and about here, and then I'll show you in the back how you can form that into a nice hanger.
Hello everyone, they're hopping on again. Thank you for joining us.
Hi.
This is part 2. We have 3 parts for DIY Weekend Winter Edition. And this segment is all about some green pines. All of these kits are 25% off this weekend. And the beautiful stems are 25% off this weekend. We also included 15% off all of our vases and planters. For some more DIY inspiration there, you might find a new favorite.
Okay, and now our wires that come out the back. Here, if I turn it around, you can more carefully see, or more easily see, the 2 points. These 2 points that we wired can be twisted together to create your hanger, which will be a little more secure than the loop we've done at the top. The loop is a little soft, but if we shorten up 2 of these wires, you just twist them around each other and make a nice bar hanger with some size to it. Usually, people often use an over-the-door wreath hanger, so you need the loop to be big enough to go over that. So now we've got a tidy hanger, we've got a nice drop, and to finish this drop off, we're going to need to shape some of this to help it hang more solid together. But we also want to snug our nest in here. So I would probably just use an untaped wire. It's easier to glide through the nest, and you can poke right through the center of the nest and around the stem behind it to get it nice and ready to be tucked in. So here you can see a left and a right wire over top of the branch. Let's give it a twist. And then we can layer it into the center of our loop up here. So this is where you have to decide where you'd like that nest to sit. I think it will sit on the top of my chubby icy pine here nicely. It's going to end up centered in front of my hanger. And we're adding one more wire that way, so this piece is definitely nice and secure. And before I tighten it down, I just want to make sure I like how it's sitting. And when you get it in place, you just give that wire some good twists in the back. Now do you see how we filled in the gap in our circle with our nest, and it kind of makes a nice little arc design over that also. So as we've completed the placement of the components, you could decide if you like it natural like this, with all these components just draping in a fun vine design, or would you like to see a bow? The bow could nestle underneath your nest, which I think looks the best, or you could also offset it right over here. The bow, remember, is an optional item. If you love the look of that color in there, make a decision where you want that to go and tuck it in place and get it wired in. The bow is sold pre-designed as a separate add-on item. This bow is called the Winter Moon Bow. You can purchase it separately. It's maybe $10 to $12. So that thing is one way to just dress it up a little bit. Without it, it's a more natural look. And your draping pieces here can be shaped more easily if you hang it on the wall, to be honest. But with the vine, it looks good to kind of curl these. They are wired sections in between each chunk of pine. So if you give them a little bit of a spiral and a spin, that gives them more character. And I often even take this vine and sort of lightly loop it around the white artemisia to help incorporate them. And then I pull these little artemisia pieces into the center, wrapping around a little bit. They are so straight, it looks more natural if you give them some curves. So just curving some of these pieces, spiraling the stem of the long pine will soften the whole thing up for you and make it look a little bit more full also. So it's a pretty easy piece to do once we break it down. Hopefully this will accent a really fun area. Like if you had a long mirror that this could be attached to, hanging in the center of the mirror with a suction cup or a command hook would be cute. You could also just do this on a narrow wall someplace, and it's an unusual shape. So like the idea of it. A little bit deeper on the top with the nest, so if it's going to hang on your door, you would need to have no double door situation. It won't fit between doors, but it definitely has a lot of character. And this piece is called the Vining Swag. All right, on sale today. This is a fun one, and we're going to keep moving along because I have more kits than time might allow. So we're just going to keep on rolling, guys. Next up is going to be a porch pot design. And the planter that we need to build, let me set this up here. We're going to send you a chunk of foam. And our porch pot today is called, oh, Kate has the title. We're going to lay it out and give it a name here. And let's line up our pieces.
This is the Christmas morning porch pot kit. This one is going to be a really fun kit to put together. Snapping a quick photo of Mom, of course. Let's see if her eyes are open. Okay, ready to go through the components?
Sure.
So, of course, you start with the gray square planter. Gotta have that, and a floral foam block. We have 2 dusty blue berry sprays, 1 snow dust pine spray, 3 mixed Himalayan pine sprays, a Believe glitter pine cone pick, a snowy winter pine spray, and a pine juniper mix spray.
Okay.
This kit is on sale for $59.
So all of these items will come in your kit. Let's put it together and show you just how easy it is. These are plastic pots that we use, and we call them porch pots. Anything that's like bigger than 7 by 7, I'm going to consider it a porch pot. We also use some planters that are smaller, and we refer to them as step sitters. I believe you could use this as a good starting point, but it's often more of a liner, and you would then maybe take the entire thing and set the liner pot and design into a bigger, heavier outdoor planter. Let me show you how to use your single block of foam to fill this planter just enough to make it work. So we're going to not use 2 bricks, even though it probably ideally could use about 1.5. We're just going to maximize the use of 1 block of foam. By the way, we sell this block of foam for $5 if you just need some high quality professional design foam. I've marked the top of my pot here with my knife. Use a kitchen knife, doesn't matter. This is not going to chunk and make a big mess for you. I cut it off. I do use the cut side up and I use the finished side down, and you're going to want to glue that smack dab in the middle. So off camera, I've got pan glue, guys. If you ever use pan glue, you won't go back to glue gun glue. It is glue pellets that you order in a little mini melting pan, which is a lower melting point than a glue gun, so it's a little safer. Now I've got that centered, and you're going to want to stabilize it. So here's the trick. With the chunk you have left, you're going to make an angled cut through it, just like that. You're making 2 wedges, and these 2 wedges will stabilize your foam in your planter and make it work without filling it full. If you have more foam, you can fill it full. I'm sending the minimum to keep the cost down. And we're adding a little glue to the back of it and slipping it down here. It's going to wedge. If you go on the long ends, it's going to wedge perfectly. And I will just slide it down to get it to rest in there nicely. There you have it. So it's wedged in there. It's not going to tweak and break out as if it were just centered and unstabilized. So that's why we do that. Now with porch pots, the trick to building those, they're generally one-sided when we make them, assuming it's going to be against the wall or the house or the garage or something. So we're going to make sure we build our design taller in the back, and we don't start in the middle of the pot. We start at the back of the pot. It's very important for the final visual result. So if I'm going to work backwards a little bit here, this design has 1 biggest showy pine spray and 3 smallers. These we're going to use at the end because they're great filler stems wherever your holes are. We're going to start with our bigger, chunkier pieces first and make sure that we build our design with some height and use our best, most economized planned placement of these pieces and stems. So this one is ending up about 2/3 of the way back. It is at the back of the original chunk of foam. It is not in the wedge piece. Then we're also using a nice large snow pine. These are the 2 biggest pieces. Let's get them in there and make sure we get them centered and stabilized. This is going to sit in front of it. I'm gluing, but you actually don't have to glue everything. At your house, we glue to make sure that things are traveling, they're shipping and packed and stable when they're moving in the mail. So that's why we do that. Then we've got a little bit of depth here. You can see from the side view, we've already created some nice depth. So porch pots aren't too intimidating. This is a very good breakdown for you if you want to tackle it. It's not the easiest thing we'll be doing in the segments today. There's many easy items that will be able to just be like moments to get them done. We're going to dip our dusted pine spray here, and it needs to go about in the middle of the planter. I would
That's my
say.
favorite
It's
pine.
Kate's favorite pine
It's
stem.
so pretty.
It's kind of micro snowed,
Yeah.
a little bit
It
different.
looks very real though.
We're going to let that piece have some height to it, standing up tall. Now, the reason we're doing that is because that makes the best contrast for the blueberry. And the blueberry needs to have something against it that is contrasting, whereas green, it doesn't show up as well against green as it does against the snow. So that's why the snow is perfect backdrop for it. I think blue goes great into the winter months. And our winter kits that we're doing today are designed in the Midwest. We keep them out, our wintry looks, until March often. If you live in other parts of the country, I bet more of these woodland looks would be area appropriate for you. Maybe not the designs with the snow, more of the designs with the winter woods look might be best for your area. So here we have our tallest components in place. Now we've got an accent pine cone. He's not really a tall piece. We need to keep that closer towards the front. So we're just going to, I'm actually going to bend this eucalyptus down a little bit and pull it forward. I'll show you what I mean. It's a plastic dusted eucalyptus. I just bent it down towards the front here. And I think we can sprout this pine cone off to the side. I haven't really cut any of these stems yet. Just a note about that. They're all going in without being cut at this point. There we go. Got a nice, interesting pine cone combination of the real cones that it came with and this cone set, which is a plastic cone set. So this is looking pretty good. We've got some holes. Now you could, with an option, add moss to your purchase if you want to. We have two kinds of moss in a Spanish moss style. I think they're $8.50 a bag, so they're not really expensive, and you can use that to hide your mechanics, your foam. If you're using this outside, I often don't use moss because it just gets damp if it is exposed to the elements. Up to you. You would want to tuck your moss in at this point and cover your foam, and I don't do it in the beginning because the bigger stems of all these pine pieces just shove the moss into the holes along with the stems, so it isn't ever the easiest placement is to do the moss first. It's always better to tuck it in at the end. Okay, I'm adding 2 of the pine sprays towards the front of this design. And an optional Spanish moss, I guess I was recommending the green Spanish moss because these green pine sprays.
Recommended there too.
Okay.
In the description.
And I see I don't have a bow recommended, but this would also be an option to use our birch bow if you wanted a bow on it. So the birch bow is, maybe Kate can hand me one out of the box on the bottom there and show you. This is called the Birch Woods bow. It would be a pretty combination if you wanted to further add a little something to it. And then this piece will hide a little bit more of the foam in the back for filler. So we're just going to tuck him in and fill that around the back and the sides. There we are. 3 pieces usually does it. And with a porch pot, I don't always go crazy and make them super big. I'm trying to keep the cost down a little bit for you, but this is a really cute design. It's not overly large. The way I've set it up, it might vary at your house. This one comes out to about 15 by maybe 28 to 30 inches tall right in there, and it went together pretty easily. We are ready for the next. If you added the bow, this winter birch bow here, or the birch woods we're calling it, you would just place that down at the bottom, and I would tuck it around and pull some of the pine through to help integrate it a little bit. Okay, there we are. Okay, everyone, let's keep moving. We have so many designs today, and I don't want to forget.
We should note that you can add weight to porch pots as well when you get it home.
You
pea
can.
gravel.
Pea gravel is the way to do it, for sure. I did want to hang that long swag back here.
Okay.
And I forgot to show you the birds on the swag we made earlier.
I'm sure you have birds for everything.
Birds go on everything. Exactly. We're going to do a tray look next. Here we have a really fun teak wood tray with extra glitter. Isn't that unusual? These are all a little bit different. The decorative teak wood tray is $114.
Can we do a photo without the tray in the
Yes.
photo? Just so I have
And
it for the
you could
kit.
use this in any tray, of course. Let's get all these components in here. There we go.
Okay.
Pieces. The pieces are ready to go.
Okay. Let's open this up, shall we?
Let's do it.
So this kit, if I can pull it up here, is on sale for $38 today. Such a good price point. We are showing it in the decorative teak oblong bowl.
This is sold separately. It's a suggested bowl. We have many trays to choose
Yes. This kit includes the dark blue pod spray, the frosted curly twig, some natural look bendy vine, 2 pine juniper mix sprays, and some floral wire.
from. All right. It's easy enough, I'd say. So our floral wire in this design, I would use a taped wire. I've shown it in many other segments, but you will get the 20 gauge floral wire in a bundle of 5 pieces for just $1.50. If you would like to put some brown tape on it, I like brown, you could use dark green. This can be floral tape that you purchase at any of your hobby shops. Do a little pinch at the top and fold the tape around the top of the wire, and then I am holding the tape taut, which of course activates it, at a sharp angle, and I am rolling my wire into my tape at this extreme angle. Rolling, rolling, rolling. It's a trick that you have to practice, but that's how you do it. So with these wires ready to go, it adheres and grabs my stems and makes a nice tidy finish. It's kind of a professional touch, but not a necessary step. And then my twig spray here is unwrapped. This is opened up and stretched out. But here's how your twig bundle is going to come, and you'll have to untwist the pieces to open it up and get your pieces open like so. This is going to add a lot of interest to our swag, and you can see how sprawly and fun it is. It's just got a lot going on. It's a bendy vine to beat all bendy vines, and you know how much I love bendy vine. All right, let's place these 2 pieces end to end. You'll want to shape them and pull them open. This one we've already opened up, and you have lots of fullness. But by putting the 2 stems with the pine cones touching, you instantly can have your tray swag base. That's all you have to do to get started. Then we're going to put wire on at the end. So let's just stack our components in here and then wire it all at once. We're going to get this curly twig placed in here next. So I did roll the stem end up. It's going to come straight. It's not too firm, but you can give it a spiral and get it shortened up a little bit out of the way, or you can cut it off, and if you do cut it, it's a paper stem, dip it in glue to make sure it doesn't unwrap. Then we're going to take a couple of these pieces and we're going to pop them backwards to make a more even base that will be centered. You can see how it's spanning out kind of even from here to here with some in the middle. And then we want to lay that in between the pine cones. I'm kind of lifting some pine and I'm tucking it underneath some of this pine so that I'm not compressing anything, making sure it's nestled down in there, just like that. Now our blueberry can be cut, but it just is as easy to simply bend it back. So I cut the stem off. It was a pretty long stem. Half of it goes backwards this way, the other half the other direction, just to get it balanced. And we're going to stack that on top of the twig, hiding my stem there. And then the last component will be getting this wire branch attached. So it's opened up, there's a lot going on. What you want to do, obviously, is it's long. Use it and make a little circle out of it. So just find the middle, use the very center to shorten up the length a bit and create a circle. This does not have to be a neat and tidy circle. It won't be. I don't want to make all these loose ends lay flat, so I'm going to make sure I don't take any of my loose ends and wire them down. Just enough to get this in my designs, I can wire it down and control it a little bit. There we go. So now it's all stacked up. I can feel all my stems together in my hand here. We just need to get a wire through this whole situation. So I'm wiring with my tape wire over top of the branch we just placed, covering everything offset on one side of the center, not smack dab in the center. I am on one side of the center. The reason is I want to add 2 wires. So if I put one on each side of the center, it's going to be a little wired more stably. And then I'm kind of feeling around, pulling the wire in between the pine pieces so that I don't wire anything down that I want to be flaring in full. Like this fluffy pine spray. Make sure I didn't catch him. Tightening it up. Now here's where you would leave your length of your used wire to create a hanger. If you want this to hang on the wall, which you sure could, you wouldn't want to cut this off. You'd want to use these wires to make your hanger on the back because we're going to have 2 of them. One more over here. And I'm fishing it through between these pines again so I don't secure anything that I mean to have standing up and looking full.
Everyone's so quiet in the comments today.
Are you focused?
It's funny because normally we're quite chatty when we're doing lives and like to converse with all of you. And then during DIY weekend, I feel like everyone is just watching intently and making notes and just really absorbing the information that you're providing because it's a lot of little things, a lot of
details
tips and tricks, and it's just funny when DIY weekend. It's always like very quiet in the comments. But Deborah's saying hello. Terry said just simple and looks so pretty.
It does look good. Here's our 2 wires. If you wanted this to hang, you would then loop these together to make your hanger. If it's going to sit in our tray, you wouldn't need a hanger at all. Here at the store, we often make them convertible, so they come with a hanger, and whether you choose to hang it or not, it's up to you. So I can roll these pine cones around. I can lift my pine sprays around and through. It's all secure now, so if I start moving it, it won't be popping apart. And you do want to shape and pull the pine up a little bit.
Kathy said they're mesmerized.
Are you mesmerized? There's lots to these.
Oh, fun. In Colorado, in Buena Vista, has a chocolate walk and parade today.
Ooh.
Fun.
A chocolate walk like in the downtown shops?
Yes. Oh my gosh,
sounds
that's
awesome.
So fun. Colorado has the best
They have events.
activities.
They have events like crazy. So now I'm just playing with my the twig pieces here to secure them and bend them into submission. How do you want it to look in your tray? Do you like it spiky and spidery, or do you want to curl it and control it and tuck it down in there? These snow branches are all wired bendy vines also, so let's see if we tuck them in a little bit by curling them down.
Oh, Mary, I agree. She said that swag would be awesome with little lights.
Oh,
A
yes.
fairy light strand would be very cute.
I have the perfect strand.
Oh, you do?
It's in that box on the end, the leaf strand. So we probably don't have time to get it out and light it up, but I can tell you that this piece is nice and full. We have filled in the center just by pulling some of our stems through. We can pull our berries up and make sure they show by twisting them around. Everything's wired. And it's rustic and timeless. I don't think this will ever go out of style. We were just talking about that yesterday, how regular, natural pine looks are always on trend. This is the best leaf choice. It's a wire with little metal leaves in a battery-operated use. Takes 3 AA's, and it has silver leaves accenting a micro LED fairy light strand, just like this. So that's what I would work in there. It's really pretty. It has a warm glow, and the silver leaves would just dress it up a little bit. That little guy is 25% off, I believe, unless it's an everyday one.
No, that's an everyday.
This is an everyday one. I was going to say, we've been using it all year, but it's probably definitely under $20.
Angie, she said, your work is beautiful and you're a great instructor.
Oh, thanks. Well, I've been training
Kathy said you make it look easy.
I've been training my staff for years. We have had many designers over the years, and learning the Magnolias tricks of the trade definitely that's one of the secrets. So here is our finished result.
And that again is the Rustic Winter Tray Swag. And the tray is sold separately. You probably have a tray at home you might want to put it in.
Right.
Simple piece.
And you'll have the ability to make a hanger on the back if you use your little wires to do so. So let me whip that together.
Next thing.
A drop-in. So this drop-in would be coordinating. It's got a little bit more snowy components than this one does. You'll want that piece of paper attached to that.
I know.
This snowy berry, which we have many discussions whether it is charcoal gray, blue gray, or black. You decide. It's somewhere in the middle. But that one's going in, and then we've also got a little bit of green, and today we're going to design in one of our vases. I should note, if you just jumped on a little bit late, all of our containers today are 15% off. This particular container is a really pretty one. It has a friend.
Sold separately. Let's move it to the side for the photo too.
And the friend is taller. I think this will fit in either one, actually.
Okay.
I was going to make it for the small one today. Here we go. I've got one more thing to hold into the picture. This piece here comes with it.
Okay. There. That works. See if your eyes are open.
We have
your eyes are open on
for
one.
Everything, you guys. So
okay.
with this
Ready
design,
to go
yes.
This is the Snowy Weather drop-in kit on sale for only $36 today. This one includes the brown twig bendy vine, snowberry branch, spruced up pine spray, eucalyptus oats and berry spray, and some floral wire.
Super easy. You're going to get a bundle of 5 20 gauge wires. That's my favorite in between gauge, and you'll have a couple extras of the wire, of course, and you'll have extra bendy vine in the end because we're only going to need 2 of the 6 pieces, but there's no problem having extra bendy vine laying around your house. You'll find uses for it in trays and so forth. So with this combination, usually doing my vase drop-ins, I find it easier just to build them right in the vase rather than guessing and designing it in your hand and then moving it to the vase. I just make it in the vase right away. One thing about these big chunky pine sprays is that they always are good filler and balancing items. If your vase that you're working with has a wider opening, a stem like this will kind of provide a little support for all the other tall stems you want to put in. So I would put that in first. I kind of shaped it and fanned it around so that you can see it will provide some support for all the tall stems and look centered in my vase. Even though there's one pine cone, it still looks centered. So let's then add this tall oats stem. This is a piece that has many coordinating other pieces you could purchase. There's a garland, I believe, and a spray and a wreath of this combination, which isn't exactly wintry or Christmassy or anything. We use it all year round. Where's the center? I'm going to thread that down the middle. There we go. And then we have to get our snowberry worked in around too. So these two things want to share the center. And once you get them in place, you do have to sort of work the stems of the snowberry and pull it around and through to get it to look balanced. Since we're not cutting and we're not doing 2 of them in here, it's all about shaping to try to get those things to look more balanced. There we go, which it's all wired, so it will move and shape at your will. You just have to wrestle with it a minute. And once you get that figured out, one of the components of this design and one of the mechanics will be the bendy vine. So before we add the bendy vine, I'm going to secure everything with one wire. We're going to use some taped wire here. I'm going to lift it out. There's not a lot of room in this vase, and this will work in either the tall vase or the short vase. Take your pick. It works in both. We want to get a little wire on there, and then I always show people once you put your wire wrap in one spot, just drop it down and another inch and do one more wrap. It will stabilize it better than just 1 point of wire. 2 points always is more stable. There we go, nice and tidy. Still looks great. We have some shaping to do. And there's not a lot of room inside this vase for the bendy vine to go in. So I am going to use the vine to add some interest. And if this was in a larger vase, it would stabilize it. So I can see where my vine is going to hit the neck of the vase. I'm going to place it there with just one wrap so that I know it's going to wedge into this vase and help it sit nicely. This is kind of a rubber coating. When it rests inside the opening, you can squish it. It will support itself that way. And when it's sticking out, I think I want to use both of these stems in this way. Yeah, there we go. It will squish in there nicely. The rubber coating helps it create a little stickiness right there, and it will compress and support it. And then I'm going to add one more wrap of vine a little bit higher and kind of pull it up into the, this is how I would like to do the bendy vine. I want to see it inside my design, so I'm kind of wrapping it around the stem, but then pulling both of these ends up into the piece. And once I get it up in the top a little bit, I'm giving it a half twist, just enough, because this is kind of adding a twig effect in the design. It's going upwards. One's down, one's up. This is where you can have your own creative license to do what you like with the vine. It's an option. If your vase is large and you're using this in something at home, the winding vine around your stem set will actually stabilize it in a bigger vase. Or if your vase is kind of plain, like this one, it can add some interest and be decorative. We were doing this earlier today, a little bit down into the vase design. It's another use for bendy vine. And it will, let's see, I think it looks good if you sort of connect them. It will add just some interest outside of the vase and connect your design down. So let me shape and spin and show you what we've got. So that's one of the easier looks today. This vase comes in the 2 sizes. This design looks good in both sizes. Did you have the title, or the vase is suggested in the product, isn't it?
It is, yep. It's linked in the description there of the product as a suggested option. And you might have a vase at home that it would work with, and that's totally fine. That's why we sell them separately, but it's called the Rockland ribbed vase.
There we go.
So very cool option.
Drop-in components, vase sold separately. Just a few components, one of the easiest looks to do today. Keeping that one simple and giving you all sorts of shapes and ideas today too. If this matches Jan's dining room, well, there you go, Jan. That might be the perfect thing to switch it up to after Christmas. All these designs are meant to be winter looks so that you can customize them and make them a after Christmas finish for your home without taking all your beautiful greens out. We all feel so sad when the greenery has to leave your home and it just seems bland, doesn't it? So it's nice to be able to have a little green color and interest coming in after the Christmas season is over. Next up, we're going to do a wreath. I do want to point out one thing today that is happening with your purchase. Thank you very much if you purchase it all today. Our local neighbors just down the street, Cornhusker Auto, every year buys and donates toys to families or causes or organizations, and we support them by raising money on one of our weekends, and this is one of our busiest weekends. We're taking a portion of our sales and we'll be writing a check on Monday to donate to Cornhusker's Auto shopping trip. This year they are providing toys for kids. I think they have 18 families that are in the Bright Horizons program, which is a domestic abuse program, also foster children. And we are going to give them some money directly from this weekend to support their purchases and help them have a Merry Christmas for those families. So thanks for your help. This is going to be a fun design. We're doing a wreath today. It's either a wreath or a candle ring.
We call it a mini wreath.
A mini wreath. We're going to call it a wreath.
Okay, ready? Just making you like freeze mid-talking.
It's kind of awkward.
We were trying to upload photos of Mom holding all these things.
All these pictures
products.
will help you.
Yeah.
So when you purchase a kit later on, you can go find that kit online and click through to the link for the video.
All right, are you ready? This is a Bit Brisk mini wreath kit. This kit is on sale for only $24 today, you guys. Really good starter kit. And this kit includes the Icelandic cypress candle ring. Beautiful piece, very fluffy. Lots of frostiness on it. Not much fallout, I will say. That one doesn't. That's pretty good. The 3 of the mixed Himalayan pine sprays. 1 frosted pine cedar. Gorgeous frosted, a little bit of blue, mixed stem. And the Merry Music berry spray in a cool dark blue, very pretty stem. Optional add-on is the mini Hunter Velvet ribbon bolt. We used 3 yards of this ribbon. It is a micro unwired ribbon in a beautiful velvet green color. You could do any ribbon if you have some at home, but the micro is kind of the best thing for this.
I picked the velvet for fun because it's on trend to do skinny shoelace bows in velvet, which is easier than instructing you to tie a bow, right? We're just going to do a shoelace bow.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's get started. So we have fanned open our cypress wreath a little bit. We've lifted the pieces and separated them. We want to get down to being able to see the center wire, which is a paper wrapped wire, 6-inch circle, and that is where we're going to be attaching all of these extra stems, wiring it to the circle. So you could have some of your wires ready and pre-taped. Are wires in this kit, or are they extra? Are they forgotten? Because I didn't hear you say it. Okay, so you may have wire from another project. If you bought anything else today, it might have included wire. Our bundles of wire are $1.50 for my 20 gauge floral wire for 5 wires. If you want to put some tape around a wire, you just pinch it at the top and you hold your tape taut, which activates it. And at a nice extreme angle, roll your wire into your tape. Extreme angle means it goes faster, it is snug, and it covers with less tape. And you get a nice coated wire, which is tacky and makes a nice finish. So then this cedar spray gets fanned back so that part of the chunky spray goes backwards, part of it sticks this way. This has been a popular one for use today, and don't let me forget, Kate, there are matching components. There's a wreath and a 4-foot garland that matches this spray. I do have it. So I've laid the stems together, and I'm going to be stacking stems today. You can't quite see it, but the stems are stacked. I've actually curved the cedar stem and laid it on top of the curved wreath base. Then we're going to layer the blueberry spray over it. So I'm kind of doing a crescent here on one side of the accent items. This piece, we can cut some of the length off. Let's do that. We're not going to need it all, so I might just cut off up to the blue part. That would be an easy mark, and then bend the bottom piece down so that we have this curved accent piece here in a semicircle. You can see that's just ready to place. So then I'm just tucking the stem behind the pine cone, and that is stacking my stems together. I'm stacking to ensure that where I am going to be wiring, my wire is going to hit everything because they are all in a stack. And to do that, you do have to get that base nestled in there.
Hey, good morning, Janet. It is 5:50 a.m. in Australia. She's watching for some inspiration.
Hi.
Holly says, I want that even before you start for a gift.
Oh, it's a good gift. It's a good price point too, guys.
I think too, if you have a friend that also shops with us, they probably know what DIY weekend is. How fun would it be in order to just give this kit as a gift for the holiday season? I always like to say the analogy, it's like paint by numbers, but for flowers.
It is.
You get everything you need. You can go back and watch the video, look at the photos, and put it together at home very easily.
And I'm just deciding that as I had curved this berry upwards, it looks a little heavy down. It could go down. I'm just going to take the berry, which is sticking up a little awkwardly. I'm going to give it a curl, basically a spiral to shorten it. Once you do that, it nestles itself closer to the stem and looks less awkward. We're going to get this in place, but that is what I did with him. Rather than cutting him off and rewiring him, I gave him a curl. So now this is going to be our main stack right here. We're going to lay these 3 stems open. They do have a front and a back. I'll show you the difference. The front, you don't see the wire loop. The back, you see that wire loop? That's the back. So what you'll do is we're going to use these as a filler because this is a little bit of an open wreath. There's wire showing the circle here, and we're going to add some deep green. I'm going to cut the stems off these 3 pieces. They're just short stems anyway. Don't need them. Shortening them up because they're going to become the filler. So you fan them open, find the top, put the back to the table here, and you lay them in behind this wreath in 3 spots so that we have a filler. 1, 2, 3. It makes the wreath look fuller. It adds a deep green color, and it will give another green dimensional texture to it. So that's what I'm going to do, is just place them underneath, find 3 good spots, decide how it's looking from the top, but what you'll do is pull the stems through, and it's a nice little trick. I'll show you. My large chunks of stack over here are going to get, let's plan on 2 wires. So now I'm reaching through with my wire. I'm making sure as one wire goes down, it is covering the blueberry stem, the frosty cedar ring, the green stem I just laid behind it. I'm catching all of it and I'm wiring it in the back. You could also wire it in the top. I guess it doesn't matter. It just, you need to get a wire to cover all your components. Don't forget something. Where's my other end? Here it is.
Well, thanks, Holly. She said, so excited. I just ordered this wreath.
Oh, good. Well,
Rosalie
hey, it's
loves the
inexpensive.
kits. Yeah, it is just very fun.
And it is a great idea. Like, this could be, without the ribbon in it, this could be a candle ring still. It is technically a 6-inch candle ring base that we've started out with. So my wire I can cut in half and use the 2 pieces. I'm just going to add a second wire to grab a little bit more, about 5 or 6 inches away. I can feel my pine spray fell off. Let's just catch that. But we're going to use the pine spray now to do this nice little trick where it will create some good filler. So your spray, they have wires in them. They're kind of like twist ties, bread ties. Would you say that that's what they're like, bread ties maybe? You're going to be able to create a no wire scenario out of the other 2 that are floating around here. Meaning this piece is laying back here unsecured on the opposite side. And it's fanned open. Do you see how you have these little legs? So with one of them on each side, we're filling and making this look fuller by grabbing those 2 little pine stems, hard to describe this correctly, and I'm twisting over top of the vine candle ring base. Maybe 1 or 2 twists. Here we go again, 1 or 2 twists. And that last piece is just hanging out back there, but I can wiggle it through and help arrange it. So with the addition of that little touch, I am popping it between the cypress. I think this is a cypress candle ring, or did we call it Icelandic? Okay. See how it filled it in there? That gives a little bit of fullness. So then the pieces, we've got 1, 2, 3 behind here. I'm going to do that with the other pieces and grab their tips and pull them up and through. It hides the brown vine. It adds a little green depth and dimension. And that gives you the nice finish that we're after. There we go. Just work your way around and you find your tips, and that's how you finish it off.
This is also a really easy concept, I feel like, for anything you want to do at home. If you can buy the components, we have a great assortment of candle rings this year. If you want, the coniferous candle ring has blue in it already, and you want to apply the same technique to one of our other shapes, it's a great technique for creating something unique.
That's how we layer it. So that way you get all of it together. Now if you need a hanger on this, The extra brown wires, the taped wires, make a great hanger on the back. I'm just kind of looking and deciding which way is my top, which way is my bottom. My berries, do I like how they're placed? I'm adding a little wire to secure some stems here that are sticking out. So it is laid together, filled in, and stacked up with an asymmetrical offset kind of design over here. That I would call my, here we go. What do I want to be my top? I like it that way. Up to you in the end. So with an accent, if you choose to add one, where I would place some of this ribbon. So this is a bolt. I believe the bolt's like $15 regular price, maybe less. We carry red. We're probably out of blue, burgundy, and hunter green. We've got a couple of cut pieces here. These are, what are they, half-yard pieces. And we have a big chunk, which is about a yard. So we're using roughly 2 yards of this ribbon. Now, I don't know if I can tie a bow backwards, but I can pull the long piece of ribbon underneath the wreath, bring it up to the top, lay in my 2 chunks. Do you see how they're laying in here? My 2 chunks of extra ribbon are just going to lay in my bow. And then we're just going to tie a shoelace. Tie a shoelace, super easy. Keep it easy for you guys. Just 2 yards. You're going to have a 10-yard bolt. You obviously will have some extra velvet ribbons in, so go spread it around the room. Use it on the necks of your little deer accents. You can use it on candlesticks. Of course, you can use small bows in your tree right now. And we're just tying a shoelace bow. And then all these extra tails will just drape down and through. So it makes it easy to get the extra tail effect without having to use any wire to create your bow. It's a little bit easier to do it that way. And that's the look, the on-trend look, just loopy drapey velvet. It's so a thing. Cute. We should have had more velvet this year. We ran out way before we intended to. But it is one of those things, live and learn. There we go.
Beautiful. So that is, again, a Bit Brisk mini wreath kit on sale for only $24. Ribbon sold separately, and you can customize it however you like.
There you go. So this piece, if it were a candle ring, do I have a candle? You could use up to a 4-inch candle in there, or you could fit a couple of 3-inch candles in the center if you wanted to use it as a candle ring. They would still fit side by side in the middle. There we go. Great.
All right.
Okay, we are moving right along, trying to keep everything going for you today because we have lots of designs in this segment. And we're moving through the darker rustic looks, blending in some snow. It's going to be wintry, but not Christmassy, and that's what we've been doing lately. Okay, next. All right, new design. We're going to do a swag. We haven't done one of these vertical door swags here yet. Let's lay out our components and see how we're doing today. Thanks everybody for hanging out for session 2. It's been a busy day so far. We have 3 sessions today, and oh, Kate, I don't want to forget. So the piece we just made that she handed me, here's the matching wreath.
Wait, this?
There's a stem in there. So this stem inside our design is the matching component to this wreath. And if you love this frosty, chunky, icy look, this is the frosted pinecone cedar wreath, and it is a 24-inch, very chunky iced wreath. Super beautiful, catches the light daytime on your door. We also have a 4-foot garland. And the garland also has these gorgeous pine cones in it. So the spray does not have this gold glitter on the cones, but the garland and the wreath does, like a gold and ice combo. And this is just a 4-foot wreath. These are all now upgraded to 25% off today with our pine sale. We had been at 15% off on all these components, and now today we're upgrading to the 25% off. So all the pieces you see behind me, which we will continue to talk about as we go through our day, are part of the sale until supplies run out. I don't know.
We won't be
The
restocking.
supplies are going to run out. That's what's going to happen.
Ready for the next one?
I am.
So this one is Blueberry Delight Swag.
Oh,
this
good.
one is a vertical swag, very beautiful piece, and going to be really fun to create at home. On the components, we start with the Hemingway stem, which is that big, fluffy, white stem in the back there. 2 dusty blueberry sprays. The Spruce Pinecone Bundle.
Ah, that's this triple stem set here.
A bronzed glitter cedar. Birch Woods bow. And some floral wire.
Okay.
This one is on sale for $44.
The Birchwood's bow is linked if you want to purchase it separately for any reason. That is an item you can find in this kit that you could click the hyperlink and go buy it separately. Any of these components, in fact, can be purchased separately. I did start out as the background with the Hemingway. I was shaping it here. It comes very flat. You have to pop it open, fluff it up, and help it look a little bit dimensional because it comes absolutely flat. The other thing I did was I bent this uber sturdy stem over. I bent it in half. Now, this is impossible to cut. I don't know what I would cut this with. It's made to, I don't know, support a building. But it is bent in half, and I even just used my table to sort of give it a firmer bend. Like, I am just trying to hide the stem on the back and bend it over, not trying to remove it because I haven't found a way to cut that without hurting yourself. So that's one caveat of that piece. You just got to bend it and then ignore it on the back there. We're going to layer our stems on top of this. Let me turn this so you can see it. Now this bundle, once you take it apart, it just comes with a little wire around it. You've got like a pinecone chunky, almost pineless one. You've got a little sprout, and then you've got a bigger piece. So we're going to put the bigger piece down towards the bottom. We're going to put the other pine cone towards the top and flip it over. We're just going to stack these stems like we've done in other designs where you want the stems. Actually, I'm going to switch this around and put the pine cone down below, chunky guy next up, and the sprout at the top. So I'm changing my mind. Sprout at the top, biggest piece in the middle, double cone piece towards the bottom. There we go. It really adds a lot of cones when you layer all these together with the cones that it comes with. So these are now all natural cones stacking up here. We're making sure the stems are lining up with the pine spray stems. So we're going to put our wires through everything. And this one's sticking out the top, so we're going to cut it off so it doesn't extend out of our swag. So I've shortened it. And then this one's going backwards, so I can just line up my stems and hide that. So now we're starting to see the spray being built here. All of our stems will be stacked and we'll be wiring them. Next up is the cedar spray. This one I did shorten it, cut off some of the length, and then I'm bending 2 pieces, the 2 towards the bottom, backwards, and that will give me a teardrop shape that I can wiggle in here, and we're stacking all these stems next to each other, so you might find it necessary to sort of lift and arrange the components. Everything, when it's bent a little bit, softens up and has a better look to it than when it comes flat out of the package. So don't be afraid to shape these pieces out. Here, I'll hold it up again so you can see where we're at. Holding it all in the center, we're going to be wiring the middle together. There we go. I'm just trying to shape this brown-green color a little bit whiter so we get some nice fullness, and that's where these berries need to go. I've got one that's going to stagger longer than the other. We need one, they're both going to go downwards. We can use one for some nice length to at least be as long as the swag, or possibly, if you like the look, extend a little longer than the swag. There, I like that look right there. Stacking that up and holding on to it. And then number 2 got shortened quite a bit because I'm lifting that one and staggering it a little higher. You can also see I was playing with the berries and lifting those and moving them around so they're not so straight. Everything gets shipped straight. You need to make sure it has some natural movement. After we get this wired, we're going to pull some of that white snow pine up through our design. But we're going to put some wire on here. Now our bow comes with wire, obviously. That can be one way to secure it. And it's going to end up at the top of our vertical swag. So I'm going to place, before I do that, I'm going to place a wire here towards the middle. And this can just be a small piece of wire, leftover wire, untaped or taped, whatever you want to use. I think I'll just grab a new one. And I'm looking through to grab in the middle all of my stems and fish this wire around. You could wire it in the back or you could wire it in the front. It will hide, you won't see it. The point is, get everything in your stack so that we're not just dependent on the bow to hold these things together. Generally, 2 wires are better than 1 on a swag like this, or they just flop around at the bottom.
I really like that dark brown kind of colored spruce in there. It's cool contrast. It looks very realistic.
Well, Jane did a beautiful custom design for somebody with a snow and green brown pine combo with a little glitter, and it is a stunning combo when you put the brown pine with the snow, especially if something sparkles, which is what our cedar's doing here. So now we've got that wire in place. We are also maybe going to add a hanger, so I'm just going to use a little bit more wire towards the top. Even though my bow is going up here, I'm going to add another wire, so I have 2 pieces of wire coming out the back to make a hanger with. That would be a good goal. You could also use the bend of the background snow pine. That would form a hanger more or less. Okay, a little bit of wire never hurts to hold things in position. There we are, and then our bow goes on. So we're still going to need to shape this, but let's get that bow in place. The bow needs to go up towards the top. I like this sprout up here because then without just having stem ends sticking up, we've got a little something sticking up there. So my bow is going to go below that, and that will be a little bit more proportioned. Having that sprout out the top with the twig gives it something up there. We're going to tighten that bow up, make sure it's good and snug. There we are. And that makes a start to a hanger in the back. To complete your hanger, you'll just want to make sure 2 of your wires are coming out the back and form a hanger with that, which is probably the best plan for tidiness. The other thing we need to do now is just shape it all. So instead of leaving it as a stacked look, we're going to make sure that the background snow pine comes up into our design here.
I love that bow on there.
So we're going to lift a couple. Yeah, the bow just sort of makes it. We're going to lift a couple of the pines in snow. They have long stems to them and pull them through into the middle. Just get a little rough with it. Pull them in there and help that snow color come up into your design. It does look more blended, not just stacked that way. Gives it some good dimension.
Patricia's loving this one.
Thanks everybody, and thanks for hanging out today.
I like vertical swags. I think they're really useful. Something different to put on your front door or your wall. I like mixing designs into gallery walls as well for a bit more of a unique texture on your wall. How many times can I say wall in a sentence?
Wall, wall, wall. So now our ribbon is wired. You can actually get it to tuck in nicely. I'm going to tuck it behind something and give it a little swoop. There we go.
You're at an hour 15,
That means I can make 5 more pieces. How are we doing?
1, 2, 3, 4.
We should be on track? Okay. That takes a bit of shaping. I've got the 2 combos of ribbon. This little woolly ribbon is meant to come down the center. Shape your loops out. There we go. How'd we do? How did we do? So it's all about arranging it, and that's often more easily done on the wall. Get it up off the table, hang it on the wall, and give it the final tweaks and touches. But you want your loops popped open, everything kind of blended and together and shaped for fullness, so it's nice and mixed. Really fun look today. This is going to end up being about a 28 to 30 inch swag, depending on how you shape it there.
Can you show the wired hook in the back?
So I've got 2 pieces of wire coming out that need to form the hanger. This one of the wires from the bow has no tape on the wire that comes out of it. So I have 2, I'm just going to lose the untaped wire ends because I like to make hangers out of the taped wires, just my own personal preference. Here is one, here is the other. We cross them and we flip them around each other. Then we lose the extra length. I don't need that much length, and you flip them to wrap. Wrapping, wrapping, wrapping. And that makes a hanger. I always tell my staff, make this hanger big enough to go over and over the door hook. So not huge, but big enough to accomplish that. And if you know it's going to hang on a nail, you would not need your hanger loop to be that big. But it does help to use 2 wires to form that hanger instead of 1, because it hangs more stably. So that's how we do that here at Magnolias. This is a beautiful vertical swag. It's not too deep. You could probably put this between doors if you wanted to, on your front door and behind your full view glass door.
Kathy said gorgeous.
There
it's
we
a
go.
favorite of hers.
Well, the blue,
Very pretty.
white, brown combo is something Kelsey's been designing a lot of lately. In the online store, you're going to see a lot of completed pieces, and those completed designs have just upgraded to 25% off today. The winter had been at 15. We're now at 25, and lucky for you, there are some brand new pieces that just got added to the store as recently as yesterday, and those are now sale priced and brand new. So that's pretty exciting for you. Must be warm out today. There's motorcycles going by.
I'm debating on if that noisy bike was my husband.
It probably is your husband.
Probably. Okay, we're going to do something that matches what you just did. So this is going to coordinate with the swag you just made. If you like to coordinate pieces in your house, then this is going to be fun for you.
So the bundle that we were using,
did you
which
grab
was,
extras?
I do. I want to show the full stems in your lineup, and then I will use the cut stems.
Okay.
This is the coordinating wreath. We have just the single size, so there are 2 pieces in this collection: the 3-stem bundle that we just used, and this wreath, which is overall at least 24 to 26 inches. And it's built on an angel vine base that comes with its own hanger, and that is a 16-inch base. Here you can see the hanger that it comes with, the wire structure. This is a very solid, sturdy wreath with natural pine cones, lots of natural pine cones.
I was going to see if this wreath comes with that bow. No, the bow is optional,
The bow is
so
separate?
we won't photograph it with it.
Okay.
That's what I was wondering.
So we're just going to need to show berries and stems as a starting point for the kit.
Try to get your coffee not in there. Okay.
Yeah, we've got all kinds of stuff on this counter over here. My stash of stuff.
Okay.
So this is an easy one, guys. This is not too hard.
Yeah, so this is going to be the Rustic Woods Wreath Kit on sale for only $72. This is built on the spruce pine cone wreath. This is the matching wreath for the stem we used in the previous swag. So if you want to go back and watch the swag, this wreath is the same component. 2 of the Merry Music berry sprays. I think in your hand you only have one. But the kit comes
2
with
of these.
2 snowed twig pine sprays. And 2 brown glitter pod sprays.
2 of these.
Optionally, and here's your cut up pieces. So you've cut them all apart. And then optionally is a bow sold separately, but in the link of the description of this kit, you can purchase that bow.
It's an inexpensive little bow, and it just has the 2 combinations for a little texture in the middle, wired ribbon, all of it. and I think it looks good, but I didn't include it just in case you had another look you preferred. So I needed to get all of these stems cut in half in order to insert them in the angel vine background. This is not grapevine. When it's angel vine, I love it for DIY work because it is all easy to insert without glue.
Kathy said that's her favorite wreath this year.
Oh, well, it's definitely unusual.
And Donna, yes, this would be outdoor safe.
It all is, that's true. So with these stems, I just was cutting all of them in half. I don't think I made more than one cut per stem. The blueberry, we have 2 stems, so then you're going to end up with 4 pieces. When you cut the top portion, oops, you have to grab that for me. And that will give me 4 stems to place throughout this wreath. The little vine, I don't know what that's called. Do you remember what this was called?
The pod, brown pod.
The pod, okay. We took that in half as well. So here's a bottom, here's a top. It makes it even, 2 pieces, 2 pieces. And then our snow spray, the twig spray, doesn't maybe divide as evenly, but you get like one chunk will have a cone and one chunk will just be the top. So here we have cut that in half, and I can see that is starting to unravel the tape on this, so I didn't notice that, but usually when I see things that are going to unravel with the tape, I dip them in glue and let that dry and use the glued ends to help me not have a mess of unraveling tape and components falling apart. So if I set them off the edge of the table, they can just be cut and drying over there. It looks like we cut the stem ends off of these snow twigs to make them a little shorter also. Just getting nice, short, sturdy pieces so we can insert it into the angel vine. And then, like I said, these stems are going to go right into the angel vine, especially these nice plastic stems that are very thin. The snow twigs will be a little trickier. You'll find your top, which is here. My hanger is right here. I want to make sure I locate that. And then because 2 of the snow pine stems are going to come with cones, where are we going to place these? These will be noticed if you put them both on one side. It will look a little unbalanced, so let's make sure we put them on opposite sides. The other thing to notice is that this is all radiating one direction, so I always follow, almost always, follow the direction that things are laying anyway, and don't fight with it and go backwards. Let's make them radiate around in the same direction. So starting with these, I'm going to kind of decide that they're going to be opposite each other here, because that will be noticed if they are not. And this stem is going to get glued. Every stem is going to get glued because this design might need to travel. So we at Magnolias just make a habit of gluing as we go to ensure things ship and are sturdy. You can get by with just inserting this into the angel vine because it is that easy. This type of base is super slick to DIY in. You can also, if you don't glue them, remove the components next year. Like if you do a different color combo, then you've not made anything permanent. Okay. That is going to just, I'm sort of tucking it in around behind my wreath base just a little bit. Let's get it tucked in. I always have my glue handy and a glue pan. Off camera here is a small little craft glue pan. I use pan glue because it melts at a lower temperature. It's safer that way, and it's also a hands-free use, so I have not used a glue gun.
Kim was just commenting on your cute apron.
Do you love my apron, Kim?
We have 3 styles of holiday aprons. This one's on sale for $31. It's the under the mistletoe apron because it's 25% off. It's so stinking cute. So we have to have a day where we bake cookies with the little girls.
We're going to wear this apron for cookies. Here's the bottom of the apron. It's a super cute little gingham check with berries, and it does say mistletoe, fresh cut mistletoe, 25 cents a bundle. Kisses are free.
It's so sweet. I just love it.
So I have decided to be festive today.
You are quite festive.
Off topic, moving along. So this can be yours also. All kinds of things today that you could add on with the sale, pretty much encompassing any Christmas items at this point. Even Christmas candles are 15% off if you need some yummy scents for Christmas. I'm going to glue this twig on because these little plastic twigs do tend to want to pop off. So I'm going to secure him since he feels loose. There you go. Now we're getting a bit balanced here. That white is definitely going to be noticeable. So we need to make sure we got it in place. And next up, let's do the blue. Got 4 blue pieces. We can alternate the blue in between. So we're going to just find the gaps between the white. Thanks. And pop the blue in. Again, you sort of got to wiggle it in place and make sure you get it integrated, just so it's not floating on top. I like to make sure things are blended. Lifting and tucking it in. This is a really full wreath. It did not need a lot of extras to make it look full. It's not looking fuller, we're just adding color, I'd say. If you don't glue, these little slick stems go right into the angel vine, and like I said, they can then be removed later to do a color switch out if you want to. But of course, we are now finding 4 nice gaps between our snow. So it's laying out balanced and even. It's a masculine wreath, Kim says. Yeah, that's right, it would be. You wouldn't have any problem using this, I don't know, on your husband's office door, his company. So this is now 4 sprigs of doubles. We just need to find a spot for them. We're still featuring our top here. These are just going to have to go in the gaps. Eyeball it and see what you think. Your design will come out a little different than mine. It's always hard to replicate anything when we do multiples at the store. That is a challenge for every designer to learn to make multiples. It's never easy for anyone. There we go. This little piece just adds a touch of glitter without being overtly glittery. Just a little sparkle. It's been an interesting weed this year. I kind of like it. 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 2 more stems to put in here. We're still working in the radius that the wreath wants to go in. We're not fighting it.
Kim said it's a masculine wreath.
I saw
It
that.
could be. Yeah. I just think I like the winter. It's so hard here in Nebraska. Now, if you live in Florida, you're not going to understand this experience. But in Nebraska, it is cold and gloomy and wintry well into March. We've had blizzards on my birthday before, March 21st.
Yes, we've had blizzards in April.
Yes. And so here in Nebraska, we will put our winter things out before we put tulips out, because in February, maybe, but certainly not January, you don't want to put your tulips out yet. And so this is our kind of carryover season, the winter collection, which we call Winter Wonderland.
We do. It's just a longer winter season, like we've barely gotten started. A lot of you in Michigan and those regions, you're having good amounts of snow right now. We've only had skiffs of snow.
Gotten diddly squat.
Basically
I'm so mad.
Nothing measurable, and Kate's mad about it.
I just want to be snowed in. I want to be fully snowed in, blanket of snow, nothing but my Christmas tree glowing.
She doesn't want to come to work, she means.
Steaming hot cocoa, my cat cuddled with me, and a good book. That's what I want. That's my dream.
How many of you are with her? Probably a lot of people.
Jan, that's why I liked living in Colorado, because there was always good
snow.
blankets of snow.
Okay guys, here's how it looks without a bow. We've got the top right there. I see a gap where I can work that bow in. And when you step back from it and hang it up, if you see that your blueberries need to be adjusted, or just, you know, bending things around for balance, stepping back is always better. Oh gosh. Yep, Mary Jane.
Don't forget to add the bow option.
So then the bow is an optional item. It's sold separately. I know it's less than $10, so whatever that price came out to be on sale, it's going to come with the 20 gauge wire on the back. Let's just find a spot here and add this in. These kits are sold as kits only. We don't put the finished pieces in the online store, but every demo piece that I make today is getting completed. So if you would like one, you can always notify Connie. She has a list. and she'll try to get people the finished pieces in the end. They all will include labor, by the way, so they'll have a little extra cost.
Ruth said, poor Jordan, not included. He's there. He's just probably happier gaming.
Oh,
while I'm reading. That is very true.
Jordan's making chili.
Oh, yeah. He's a good chili maker. Good chili chef. All other soups are obsolete. It's only chili at our house.
Okay, so this is getting tucked in. I'm just going to roll a pine cone around into the bow, getting my tails tucked in. I think this one will be completed with the bow, even though it's sold separately. There are other bows in our online store, like if you wanted to add a glitzy bow right now for the holiday season and change your bow later, you sure could. We have sparkly, glittery bows in stock. Like this one, which needs a little shaping, is one of our online bows at 25% off. We have pretty much let them sell down. We aren't making any more to fill the store up, but there are lots of onesies in the store. And this is the winter bow that I just added to the collection.
Diane said, that wreath really turned out nice. I was skeptical at first. It is a different one. You have to see how it's used, which is why it's perfect for a kit.
There we go. So it works up really different. It is definitely wintry.
And again, that is the Rustic Woods Wreath. Bow is optional, separate, but linked in the description of that kit on our website, shopmagnoliasonline.com.
There we go.
Okay, next up we're going to do a drop-in.
Oh, good.
We have a drop-in, a swag, and a wreath yet to do in 30 minutes, which I think will be perfect timing if I had to guess.
I think I have a separate tray swag too.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Okay.
Drop-in, swag, and wreath.
Perfect.
3 things.
I can
3
do
things
that.
in 30 minutes. She can do it.
I can do it. What do we
Okay.
have?
This one is the Polar Express drop-in.
Okay.
So if you just hold the stems, great, pose, model, work it, pose, got it.
Well, this is going to be a fast one also.
Yeah, easy, easy peasy. The Polar Express drop-in, the vases sold separately. We are showing it in the gray wash Paulownia wood vase.
One big carved piece.
We have the twig branch and mini pine cone spray, the frosted long needle pine spray, Christmas wishes snowberry, 3 frosted cedar sprays, new at the Magnolias,
Brand new.
eucalyptus oats and berry spray, and floral wire.
Okay. The
An
wire.
optional addition linked below in the description is brown twig bendy vine and the vase shown.
So if you have purchased any other kits that might have the bendy vine, we will be using a piece of it to tidy up our bundle and wire it in the end. If you don't have it, it's a unnecessary step, but it is a professional finish that I like to use. So I've just quickly taped a wire. The wire bundle comes with 5 stems for $1.50. Definitely worth having a little extra wire around. You're only going to need one to wire it off at the end, and if you want to wrap your wire with tape, you sort of pinch the tape at the beginning, hold it at an extreme angle, create tension, and pull on the tape, which activates it. Have the wire rolling into the tape. I'm twisting to cover it, and that's a practice item there. If you practice at home, you'll get good at it. I always build, if I can, my design in the vase. It seems easier to me. With that, you are getting a exact length as you go, so you can cut your stems if you need to. This vase, if you just want to use one you have at home, is 15 inches tall in all. It's probably got a 14-inch center inside there. I bet it's 14 inches deep because this is carved, so it's thick at the bottom. This is our mixed pine spray. Now, if you noticed in our first segment, and at the beginning of this segment, actually I was using the matching trailing vine that goes with it. So there are 2 components in this collection. The spray is the second component, and this piece is all one thing. Isn't that something? I have shaped on it a little bit. It comes straight. It doesn't come curled like this. And we're going to balance these 2 pieces together here. There we go. It is cut. All right, I did cut it, and I have to look to see, because when I cut paper wrap stems like this one is, I do put glue on the end of it to keep it from unraveling. I just dip it in the pan glue that I'm using. This piece also was trimmed up, and there's a sloppy glob of glue on the end just to ensure that my taped stem doesn't start unraveling on me, making a big mess that I have to fix. So that's been a habit. It does work to do Elmer's glue. You have to let it dry longer, but you can use Elmer's glue, or you could tape it. It's just more work to tape it, and it doesn't look as pretty. So we have all those little tricks that we're sharing today. As you purchase these kits, you're going to be able to jump back to the video by finding the item online, and she has linked in every product description the video where you're going to be able to find your videos that have timestamps, I think, on the video descriptions. So you'll be able to rewatch.
Getting the timestamps, and I'm linking the replay of the video in the descriptions of each kit. So this kit is appearing in part 2, so I will drop a link when we're done in the kit to the part 2. So when you buy it, next week when you get it, you can go back to that on the website and get a link straight to the part, and there's timestamps.
So I'm just arranging as I'm placing these stems and pulling each single stem into a more balanced position by bending and twisting and overlapping these things, because we're working on a design that needs to look good in the round, not just a one-sided design. So you do have to force your stems to balance around the center by wrestling them into each other. So that's the only way to do it. Usually shaping is something I finalize in the end, but I am, as I go, trying to get things to sort of end up where they need to be for balance. It's got some wild length to it, but we can control these long vines a little bit later. I'll show you how. Then we've got 3, and the reason I picked 3 of these stems is that creates perfect balance. These stems are not cut. They're not overly long. And placing 3 of those around the bottom is easy enough. They are going to fan out for you. And they do have a little sparkle.
Definitely fanning out.
Yeah,
that thing is 4 foot wide from my angle.
Getting big. The vase itself is perfect because it's heavy, and it does have a narrow neck, and then it widens at the bottom, which will make a design like this lay very nicely in this particular vase. It's perfect for drop-ins. There we got 3 pieces staggered around the center point. Now we're going to need to get some wire on. I always build it in the vase and then go back and wire it later. The wire is going to be taped, and that's going to grab it nicely. And I'm also not going to put my wire right at the top of the neck of the vase. I lift it and I drop the wire down a little bit lower than the neck of the vase. The reason I do that is because we don't want to take away from the flare, the nice wide flare of the stems. If you wire it too high, you're compressing the flare, and it changes the finished effect. So I always drop my band of wire lower. And then in addition, if you only make 1 point of wiring, your stems can actually spin around from that 1 point. They can adjust themselves. There is movement allowed if you only wire in one area. It will twist. So I drop down a little bit, do another wrap, and go an inch lower to lock those stems in. 2 points instead of just the 1. That way you can ensure your stems are staying put. They still have their flare. They are tidy with this nice piece of brown taped wire, which matches better than green.
Lots of rave reviews on this drop-in.
Oh, good. Well, hopefully it's also easy. And then our bendy vine, which is not included. This is an extra. If you want to purchase a chunk of bendy vine, is that suggested as a link, hopefully?
Yes.
Here is a bundle of multiple strands. I think it's 6 strands. I'm going to use 1. You could use more than 1. We're doing a little bit of a wrap.
I should mention that this kit is on sale for $51. And if you're joining us late in the day and you're wondering, what is a kit? It's like paint by numbers for flowers. We give you all the items you need to recreate the designs at home. You just unpack your bundle of stems, use our photos as a reference, or go back and watch this video again for the instruction. and you put it together at home. You can do it as
Super
Amy's done
easy.
it, or you can do your own flair.
So with the bendy vine wrap, what good is it? Two things that can happen. If I have a clear glass vase, inside my vase I can see some interesting vine hiding and wrapping around my stems. Loosely is generally how I use it. The other thing it can do is provide a ligature to balance your design in the opening of the vase. You see it's got some sturdiness to it. As I tuck this in with the loose loops, it is actually balancing my design and centering it in my vase and giving it some support. So now you've created a way to stabilize a drop-in in something that might have a wider neck on the vase. So at this point you just need to shape on it. It's all secure. It's going to stay put. If these stems are too long for your liking, just take them and give them a spiral around your finger, like just make a curl. This curl is going to give you a very nice textural interest while simultaneously shortening a couple of these twigs because they are pretty long, which in this vase is a good thing. And I hope we have a lot of these vases because it is both color and shape and the weight of it visually.
Not
and
many,
for real,
honestly.
it's a good one.
And I don't
Not
think we
very
can
many?
reorder it, so I think that's gone.
Okay,
It's
you know,
gone.
hand me the wood Paulownia tall natural vase. Let me show you another vase choice in case you're wanting to order this kit and we're out of that original vase. Here is an alternate that is just the same concept. This is your painted gray wash. This is your natural, which is going to come out differently each time you grab it. That is the natural Paulownia. This one has a drilled out, narrower opening, so you don't need that much bendy vine to stabilize it. That one's wider, but it also looks really natural and pretty in there, and the vase just gave me a sliver. Oh. Fantastic.
Not great.
Right in the middle of my finger. That's okay.
You got
So
it?
that way we have a nice, airy, loose, and interesting drop-in. $50, huh? That's a great
Yeah.
price point with all those cool components. So many interesting things that match this. This would be, what is the other component that matches this? Oh, it's part of our frosted cedar collection. So I had shown
and
you.
it matches the long needle spruce.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
Ready? That was the Polar Express
Got it.
drop-in.
Okay, we are moving right along
Okay,
today.
we have 2 more left in this
This is a big segment.
part 2 here. Yeah, there's a lot of
Are we
stuff.
doing the tray design?
We're
or
gonna do the
wreath
swag.
next? We're going to do the swag next? Okay.
Yes.
And I don't need this. This is
Okay.
going to be our design for another tray, which I guess you'll need to get me a tray
Okay.
at some point. I'll lay this out.
How big is the swag? I guess I don't know.
It's the same size as the other one, but this
Like
is
this?
a different combo, bigger.
Bigger.
The wicker will work. So this is going to be only 4 components. Let me get some taped wire ready.
Okay. So we'll snap a quick photo. Cheese. Got it.
Okay.
And I'll get a link posted here.
We're going to make a fun little piece that will fit inside a tray. Wouldn't need to go in a tray, but it will definitely be tray worthy.
Okay, are we ready? Mm-hmm. This is the Snowy Pine Tray Swag Kit on sale for $29. This kit includes the Snowed Mixed Pine Spray with Cone,
This one,
the Frosted Curly Twig Spray,
that one,
the Mixed Cone Spray, great stem, a Coniferous Spray, and Floral Wire.
So you're going to have 5 stems of 18 or of 20 gauge wire, and if you choose to, you could put some tape on them. You're going to need 2 wires to get this secured in the ends. Tape goes on. Regular tape from a floral supply or your craft shop. The tape goes on by pinching it at the top. You have to put tension on the tape to activate it. And then I roll my wire into my tape. Rolling, rolling, rolling. See my hand twisting? And see my left hand stabilizing and pulling on the tape. There's a trick to it. It takes practice. That's the brief synopsis. But it does give you a nice tacky wire that creates in the end a nice tidy hanger. So this is how we do it professionally at Magnolias. I'm also going to use a couple curling techniques here. I see my cones are spinning around. I'm just going to dab them with the dotted glue. This is a paper wrap stem, and I've been messing with it to photograph and create this look and then disassemble it. So I'm going to add a couple of dots of glue over the joints, let that dry for a moment. It is heavy pine cones in a paper wrap scenario that don't take kindly to lots of handling. So you won't be handling yours as much as I handled the one I'm using. Then our backgrounds, let's see, this piece is going to go at the bottom. So this is one spray. Isn't that beautiful? It's also paper wrapped. I didn't have to cut it, and I'm not going to, but I am going to bend a couple of these sections, maybe this whole big chunk of berries, backwards to make this look more centered. So we'll have 2, 3 little berries sprouting one way and the chunky berries sprouting the other way. That makes it somewhat balanced. It's going to still be a little bit asymmetrical, no big deal. And then same thing with the snow twig. We're going to take one of the chunks, bend it backwards, and we're also either going to cut this and glue it so it doesn't unravel, or just give it some curls to the stem so that it stays attached and becomes a little bit of a decorative element, but doesn't look funny sticking out. So now we have a left and a right and a centered twig, just like that. There you go, prepped and ready. And we can lay the cone in next. Now we did the same curl to the pine cone spray. This is one thing I think about, not that it's super necessary, but I'm taking the stem end of the cone and the stem end of this spray and going opposite directions, just so that all the stems don't stack up, because we're trying to avoid the look of having an end. It's just supposed to be balanced. So we're laying the cone spray into the blueberry spray, and you do have to lift things around to get it tucked in there. Do you see what I mean? You had to sort of lift and tuck, and then it nestles itself in there once you do that. Then same thing with this twig. You do have to sort of wiggle it in there, find a spot where it can lay down the middle. Our wire goes down the middle, so it's important to stack the stems together and keep them stacked on top of each other. This is going to go under this berry. It looks like I have to lift it to get it to tuck in there. There we go. I can reach through here and feel I've got all my stems stacked, so I'll be able to get wire over that whole thing. One more component before we wire. This one is wire stemmed. So if you curl it, it still looks like a wire stem. If you cut it, you need a pretty good side cutters. It is not a lightweight wire, but it is doable. I cut off about 4 inches of the wire because it's not pretty and it's harder to hide it. Then I'm going to pull 2 pieces. Let's do this long one and those guys. We're going backwards with them to give it more of a center look here, or a balanced look. And it looks like that. Okay, so that's the last thing to stack in there. You also have a pine cone, so we need to eyeball and make that pine cone land where there's a spot for it to land and not pile it up on the other pine cones. So you'll have a snowy one and you'll have a stack of frosty ones. Okay. Get that all tucked in and locate our wires that we have taped and ready to go. My hand is in the middle there. When I put the wires on, I want to thread them through and not put one smack dab in the middle. I'm kind of looking at the overall design, finding the center point, and putting my wires on either side of the center because I want to make a bar hanger in case this needs to hang on the wall. Or you could just put 2 wires, but 2 are better than 1. It will be more stable with wires a couple inches apart versus a single wire. So I'm threading my wire through here, trying to go across all the stems. It's a chunky pine piece. You do have to fight with it a little bit and get in there. So that makes a little bit of concentration here, but you will get it. It is just a bunch of chunky stuff that you have to not be afraid to wire these things together. It won't break. So we use our wire and get that good and tight. And I'm going to add a second one on the back here, a couple inches apart, and then I'll show you where that landed. Fishing it through, make sure I have crossed over all of my stems. I don't want to leave anything out. There, we got it. And that works. So this is going to allow me to make a bar hanger if this piece were to hang on the wall, like over the top of a mirror, and you could drop some ornaments from it. That would work. Or if you do a tray design, you won't need a hanger, but these two pieces coming out at this point and this point could be crossed to make a bar hanger. Let me just cut off about 3 inches of the wire on each end and twist them together to make a nice bar hanger. So that's an option. Here at the store, we try to make sure all of our designs are versatile for you. So it would be customary for our swags that go in trays to also have hangers. Now we have to shape that guy. So you can see my blueberries have gotten off center. Let's pull those back into the center position. Our snow twigs are a little out of control. You can do the same thing with this snow twig that we did with the drop-in. You can curl a twig to make it appear shorter. Just go around your finger, give it a couple of turns, and then it instantly becomes a shorter twig, more controlled if it's bugging you that it's sticking out. Just depends on how you feel about it, right? I'm also seeing, I just want to make sure I pull some of them into the middle so they're not just only at the ends. And this snow twig branch is a fun piece to use in your Christmas tree, to use in drop-ins, to use in trays. It's inexpensive and it has a lot of character to it, doesn't it? There we go. It is a good looking little tray design that will be wintry and versatile and slightly blue.
How fun would it be if you purchased one of these kits, put it together yourself, and give it to someone? You can say, I made this for you. You might have had a little help and guidance, but you would have made it for someone. You can still say it. That's just really kind to do a handmade gift idea.
There we go.
Cute. So that is the Snowy Pine Tray Swag. Very, very fun little swag. Lots of tray options available in the online store.
There is, and if you do it in a tray with candles or with candlesticks or with, oh, you know what would look best? Maybe even these giant pine cones or sugar cones are sold in the online store. Let me just toss a couple in this tray. Sugar cones are $9.50. We could accent with sugar cones. This tray is called the Katy rattan tray. Whoops, upside down.
K-A-T-Y, right?
Mm-hmm. And this snowflake is just a jute snowflake ornament on sale for about $8. We could also pop him in there.
Taking it up a notch.
And create a fun tray look.
All right, you have about 7 minutes. This is the last kit for the day.
Wow, we're cruising right along.
Very much so.
Last kit for the segment.
For the, yes, sorry.
Not for
part
the day.
2. We have part 3 yet today.
We're going to do this wreath, which is actually, for the next segment's look, we're getting into a lighter color palette.
So we're kind of giving you a teaser for part 3 of DIY Weekend today. And I should have taken it apart. I don't know why I didn't. I looked at it.
You looked at it?
I didn't do anything about it.
So we sort of put them together for the mock-up photography, and then I rebuild them for you.
Is it wired?
This is twisted. So your demo piece is the ones we sell eventually. They get turned into items.
I think Kayla was working on that at the
doing.
store. Yep.
There is one of everything completed in the end, but the point of this is the kits. So this is an easy one. Yep.
Okay.
All right. It's an easy one.
So we're ready. This is the last one for part 2. And I'm just I'm doing my timestamps as we go. Trying to be super organized today.
And she's taking photos so that as you complete, or you get your kit and you're planning to complete your design, you just jump back in to the product online and the link will be there to get to the video. That way
Made you stop mid-sentence.
That
Sorry.
way you can figure out where that video went and easily find it to
Yes.
complete your kit design.
Okay.
So this is what we're starting with today.
Yes, this is the Winter Solstice Wreath Kit, on sale for $52, great price point. It includes the Winter Wonder Wreath. This is one of my favorite wreaths this season. Very pretty with those ivory colored berries, so we're going to play into that berry. It also comes with the Winter Joy Pine Cone Spray.
This guy.
2 of the Foraged Cream Naked Berry Sprays. Stunning stems, so realistic. And a Cream Cedar Spray. This is a beautiful creamy color, very large stem.
It is.
Optional but sold separate is the Vine Berry Bow.
Oh.
Are you making it?
No, we have one. You just have to go find it. It's green
Or,
and white.
okay, or 2 yards of the white open weave ribbon bolt. So the ribbon is sold separately,
Right.
optional, and
I think it's $15 a bolt or less. It is a actual everyday ribbon you could use going into the new season. And then the Vineberry bow is a pre-made bow in the online store that should be in the office. So she'll grab that so we can show that. So it's a pretty easy concept. There's not many components here. I think the trick is the shaping to be able to get this done. This one is going to come flat and compacted. Everything on this wreath is wired. Here you can see the wired structure. All the components are wired, and you're going to want to lift and open this because we need to tuck some things in, and when we do, we're always wiring right along the base of the wreath, and we need to get these add-ins wired down to that wreath stem. So let's find the wreath stem. I think we're going to put it over here on this side. So the other thing I'm going to do is cut off some of this stem. This is a paper wrapped, unusual ivory colored cedar. We do have white cedar. I'm going to show you in our next segment some nice white cedar. We have lots of icy and frosty things. I'm dipping this end in glue to ensure that the paper does not unwrap. We're going to let that rest a second and cool off. Then we're also going to take a couple of these sections towards the bottom of the pick and bend them backwards. This is going to allow us to get a nice semicircle shape here. Do you see how we've shaped it into a semicircle? And this stem needs to rest next to the stem on the wreath. So you do have to open that up, get down to the base of the wreath, and lay this on top of it. Making a spot. Here we go. Having it curve a little bit does help it. And we're going to want to make sure we catch wires in 2 spots, so you get it down in there, wire it, and then pull it all back together after we get that wire in place. There we go. And our next the next piece we're going to lay in there is going to be these berries. These things are heavy plastic berries. So unlike foam berries, they won't pop open in the elements. If you put this wreath outside, just keep it covered because the paper wrap base really shouldn't get wet, but it could go outside in a covered area. We're also going to curve these and lay one going one way and one going the other way, and we want to bring the berries pretty much together so they're not too far apart. So I'm probably just going to lose some of these stems, cut off a little bit of it so I don't have to wire them down too much. There we go. And place them in there so that they're curving and following all of our other stems. We just need to lay one wire over the top of everything in 2 different spots. And then the last component to place is going to be this pine cone. So the pine cone itself is shaped in a curve, and then the stem, we could cut it, but I also just curved it. Either one works, cutting or curving. And you can see it's nice and chunky. And my curl, I'm going to just hide it by tucking it sort of behind some other stuff, then it won't show as much. Now I can see 2 good spots where I could get my wire to go completely through the wreath and into the base here. So 2 good areas. This is just creating an asymmetrical offset design on one side of the wreath, deliberately and intentionally. So let's get that wire threaded around and through. You can use plain wire, you can use taped wire, whatever you like. I'm one to use tape wire for projects like this. Keeps it nice and tidy. And when you get your wire in place, because all these stems are pretty heavy gauge, you probably just want to use your pliers to ensure that you've got them locked in there, not just finger tight, but pliers tight. There we go, wire number 1. And let's reach in here and grab wire number 2. There we are. So guys, 2 wires is basically it, unless you're going to make a hanger, which I won't take the time to do today, but the hanger could be made with 2 additional wires at the top of your wreath, wherever you deem the top surface. And I am missing 1 berry stem, so let me get him in there. This is all heavy gauge stuff, so using pliers makes sure that you can get your band of wire tight.
And this wreath, the base wreath is paper wrapped, so it's probably not great for outdoor use. In a covered area, it'd be okay.
Yes,
you just don't want it to get wet. But that berry, if you wanted to purchase the berry on its own, it is outdoor safe. It is linked in the description of this kit, and it is a gorgeous ivory berry. So realistic. And I need some new step sitters at my house for winter. Maybe Mom will throw something together for me.
I just accidentally cut my wires. I had to add a new one. I cut it with my pliers. So that is the wiring I'm after here. Trying to make it look nice and neat. I like to have clean wires and clean designs when I'm working, just keeping it professional.
You know, and I was going to show a birch bow with this, but it's wired into a wreath now. Do we have another one?
In the office.
We should. Okay.
Yes. We have 1, 2, 3 ribbon choices that we can show you today for this. If you want ribbon, there kind of is a natural break here, but I'm going to lift, see how we've got a naked spot going where the pine cones are, but I'm going to lift a couple of these green pieces from the back that we fanned open and spread them back in to the middle. So you have all wire components on our base wreath. And if you get back in there and wrestle with it and lift them back up into the design, you can actually pull pieces from one side and cross them over the pieces on the other side and use the wire structure of the wreath itself to twist it together. A couple pieces help it look more filled in then. There's one.
Shape, shape, shape.
Yes, the shaping component. See how pulling that green inside there then closed up any of the open areas where my wire was exposed. Here's another one. I'm just going to quickly pull this. One from one side, one from the other, cross them over the gap. So then our ribbon that we're recommending, we got 3 options. Let's hold them up here.
Well, let me do this one. Those 2 are linked in the
These are
description,
linked?
so let's show
Okay.
those. The Vineberry bow is an optional add-on, kind of a snowdrop collection style with some brighter greens, some snowy
Some
elements.
You'd want to wire that down in there and then pull the greens into the bow a little bit. And then this option would be buying a bolt of this product, which is 10 yards. We're using a little over 2 perhaps, and we're just threading it around the back and creating a shoelace bow, which I decided today was an easy way to keep it simpler DIY. Anyway,
layer this over the top of that too.
shoelace bows are in, so you don't have to.
So
work
Sharon,
hard.
this is the Winter Solstice Wreath. It is on sale today. Ruth said, get a DIY kit for your porch pot, wink, wink.
There you go. She can make her own porch pot. She just likes for me to do it.
Yeah. We'll see what's left after the end of the day. Oh, Rosemary's ordered 3 kits today. They're beautiful, she said. I'm excited for you to get them.
Very fun. So there it is with the add-on accent item. Whether you choose to use it or not, that's how what your effect will be if you do. Literally just tied in there. It is a wired bow, so it kind of holds its shape nicely. And if you like the idea of the birch bow, that is slightly different. This one is the center of the birch bow might look similar, but it is a different weave. This is a fuzzy weave. The other one's just more of a macrame cotton. So this bow would also look really awesome tucked in there.
Very fun.
Several
okay,
options
that
today.
is the end of part 2. We will be back at 3 o'clock Central Time for part 3
fun.
of DIY Weekend. more snowy. This is kind of a lead-in.
We're starting in
to
on
that
a
style.
white and icy effect next. Lots
Can't
of
wait.
whites, lots of minty green and ice.
All right, part
All
3
right.
of
Join
Wreath.
us.
We'll be back in an hour.
Join us in an hour. Thank you.